Meet Sarah. Sarah's a career coach helping professionals navigate transitions, job changes, promotions, or building their personal brand. She's incredible about what she does. Clients love her, and she's getting 2 to 3 new clients a month. But that's the problem with Sarah's offers. For Sarah to stay profitable, Sarah needs 2 to 3 new clients every month, forever, because her offers are short and sweet. A quick resume polish, a short 3-session coaching package, and then she's back to square one, needing new clients all over again. Sound familiar? This is a common problem we see with your underlying offer structures. And this is the problem we're going to dive into in today's episode of Deeper Foundations, Fix Your Foundations Edition. Let's dive in. So we heard from Sarah. Sarah's stuck on the new client treadmill, and she's not alone. Most of us start our business by doing short engagements. Every dollar comes from a new sale. But what if there's another way? A way to keep growing your revenue and your client relationships without feeling like you're constantly chasing. This is where we need to go back and look at our offer structure. Most experts and coaches build offers that end too soon, like a one-time project, a quick session, a one-time package, which means that you are always hunting for new leads. Your clients don't have a natural next step with you. You've built all this trust, and then what's next? Nothing. Crickets. Your revenue is flat, even though you are doing great work. Because if your revenue always relies on new leads coming in the door, that means your marketing has to always continue. I mean, it has to continue anyways, but you're always starting from zero in your client roster. You're not really capitalizing on the trust and the good rapport and the work you've built with clients who exist. Now, personality-wise, I get it. There might be lots of reasons why you're like, I want to get in, I want to do the work, I want to get out. And that is a totally valid personality choice. However, I would invite you to investigate and get curious about what would it look like to extend the lifetime value of your customers by transitioning from single offers that are short and done to an offer ecosystem. And that's what we're going to be talking about today as a way to fix Sarah's foundations. So you might have heard this also in the account management space called upsells, resales, and cross sales. So you hear this a lot selling B2B. We sell one thing, let's sell them to a bigger package. We sell one thing, let's focus on renewals. We sell one thing, let's focus on selling that into some other part of the organization. This is not a bad approach, and it's the foundation of what we're going to be talking about. But it sounds kind of transactional, like upsell, resell, cross-sell. It sounds a little transactional. It sounds very B2B specific. It can leave clients feeling like a target instead of a partner. But what we're talking about today is using rhythms and natural strategies for ways that are feeling supported and aligned with customer goals. Again, this is thinking about what is the natural arc of a client and how can we support them in their journey versus thinking of them as someone to be sold to. And introducing today's foundation fix is the offer ecosystem approach called Ladder Loop Layer. This approach helps you build an offer ecosystem that supports your clients and stops you from burning out by being on the new client generation hamster wheel. So we're going to talk about these different shapes and what that means for your offer ecosystem, who that's right best fit for, so that you can think about how you can do more with the existing trust and rapport you already have with your clients. So introducing Ladder. This is about helping clients take the next step in their goals. This is not about adding more time necessarily. It's not upselling them to another thing. It's about deepening the transformation or expanding their vision. So we think about our clients. They come to us kind of at point A, we get them to point B, but then they are off to point C. They are off continuing to go on their journey towards their goals. What is that next journey? That's the question that you want to know and decide whether or not you work with them to solve that or whether or not you potentially partner with a referral partner to solve that. But you are like, how can I help the client take the next step in their journey? So for Sarah, this might mean taking a client from instead of having a one-time career coaching session to, okay, well now she has the job or she's negotiating for the job. So interview coaching to salary negotiation, from getting the job to onboarding. So this might be, again, what's the next step that they would take? So you're not necessarily laddering to an ascension ladder where it's a let's not give you the real solution until you pay us more money. And then they go to the higher level ladder step and then you still need to pay you more money. This is none of that. This is really about how can we move with them on the next step in their journey. So after a copywriting strategy, for example, you develop a site for someone, they're going to need new pages. So that might be the next step. Once you come up with the brand for someone, they're going to need social media assets. They're going to need, how does it extend to Google Doc headers and Canva templates and things like that? Like they're going to need more beyond the very first engagement. So this is the ladder. It's again, moving to the next step in their journey. This works for people who want to work with their clients across their journey. So some people really may say, no, I really want to get in, want to get out. But if you're like, well, I help them do step 1 and 2, but they're going to need to do step 3, 4, and 5. Can they do that with me? That's how we think about the ladder. It doesn't have to be structured as like a long-term retainer. It can be a series of projects that move with them through the transformation. So it can still be bounded, but that means we're not just doing all the work, developing great rapport, giving them a result, and then being like, bye. So again, make sure we're not selling more time. We're not just selling another month of retainer. We're selling the next step. We're selling the next transformation. We're selling the next phase of their journey. So that's ladder. The second concept is loop. This is about building rhythms where they come back for refreshers, reviews, or renewals. Sometimes they don't need a new offer, or sometimes you don't want to deliver that offer. But change is hard. And when we've made change, we often, as a client, need to revisit over and over and over again, either from a true usage-based or maintenance-based perspective, or just because things can drift over time and we need to pull them back, which is called the loop. The loop could be short. It's every week is a loop. Could be monthly, every month they come back, or it could be something that's every season or annually they come back. So Sarah, once they've gotten the new job, might offer a quarterly strategy reset, checking in. They already have great rapport. What's happening in your world now? What are your next quarterly intentions related to career, to development? This way their clients can stay really in tune with the ambitions they set out for when they change their careers. So Sarah could offer that. Sarah could also offer something like an annual retreat. Okay, I got the new job. Now, how do I make sure I stay centered? Loop is perfect for people who, there needs to be some maintenance involved in order to stay attuned to the transformation that has been made. Loop is really great for a recurring maintenance package. So let's say you are a graphic designer, copywriter, something like that, who will every year maybe need a tweak and a refresh, or maybe the client made their designs on their own and they need every year to go back and tweak them. Or maybe you do some kind of email deliverability service and there's a monthly retainer to make sure that best practices are being maintained. Loop is a really great way to stay in relationship and help the client stay in attunement without having as deep of a transformation or so much time spent on your behalf. You can drop in with that client more often than not. So this is the loop. Thinking about refreshers, reviews, renewals. This is about returning into the engagement to keep them in line with the transformation that they have made. The final is layer. So this is where we expand horizontally, or within an organization, we expand higher or lower in the organization. So this could be adding new skills, adding new perspectives, adding a luxury layer to your engagement, or again, working with adjacent or deeper layers within the organization. For example, for Sarah, this might be adding executive presence coaching, or helping clients build their leadership brand, or even if this is in their scope of work, expanding to presentation skills consulting or executive style. For individuals, this might be, okay, we were doing a one-on-one consulting engagement. Maybe the layer is an annual retreat. A layer is a VIP day at a luxury price point. But this is also layering and working within different levels of organization. Maybe Sarah, as a career coach, discovers that a lot of her clients all come from one law school or one organization. And maybe it's going to the upstream to that partner to say, hey, can I do a workshop with your entire population? Or if there's a number of people coming from the same firm, maybe there's workshops within the firm. If you work with an organization, again, it's working with a different team, if you work with executives, maybe it's working with the next level down or working with a different part of the organization. So we think about layers as about expanding to new perspectives, new skills, new areas, or new parts of the organization that you previously didn't work with before. So if you enjoy creating new ways to help your clients grow without straying too far from your expertise, this approach will let you do that. If you like building relationships and still thinking about projects in different areas of the organization and can see how it all fit together, layers are a great way to extend the engagement with an entire organization without necessarily working with that same champion over and over again. We want to make sure it's relevant. We want to make sure it's integrated. We want to make sure it's aligned with the overall organization or client's journey. But again, thinking about the way we get sales is we see what the client's major challenges are, their transformation, their objectives, through either the ladder, loop, or layer approach. How can we best facilitate their goals? Again, that might mean they need to take a next step on their journey, which we can support them for or refer out and get a referral fee. We can help them stay in alignment with the loop, or we can say, okay, we've attacked this layer of an organization or this part of your world. Now we need to go in a different part of the organization or a different level of engagement. Again, like maybe instead of a implementation layer, it's an advisory layer in order to meet them part of their transformation where they are. Why does this work? These are all natural movement patterns. We take the next step, we recenter, we expand, and we deepen. So this is about sustainable growth. This isn't about how can I charge them more money for the same thing? How can I charge them much higher prices? This is about saying what's next in their organic growth in order for them to continue making progress, to maintain what they've built, and take the next step of deepening within their organization or expanding to external areas. You're not pushing random offers. You're not just throwing stuff at them. You're building an ecosystem that matches your personality style so that you're working from your strengths instead of forcing yourself into a model that doesn't fit. The ladder, loop, and layer models can be very bespoke and custom to how you like to deliver work. If you love to be in deep partnership, your loops could be every week. Your loops could be once a month. If you really want them to take the next step and fly, maybe your ladders are short master classes, or your ladders are, week-long bootcamp intensives for a different topic, or your layers are, again, like a luxury experience that's a retreat style format. I like to be in relationship with my clients all the time. So I'm like a low and slow kind of gal. I like, every month we're working on something new. Every quarter we're working on something new. So there's a journey to it, but you can stay as tightly coupled to your clients as you like. Instead of it being intensive, you can set it up as next projects. But this is all very dependent on how you like to work and the pace that your clients want to work out for the transformation you deliver. All that being said, we never want to use the word done with our clients. There's always a next step for our clients. Either it's maintenance, either it's continuing to work, it's embedding somewhere in the organization. But what we want to do is understand that in advance of the beginning or middle of a client engagement so that we can be planting seeds about what comes next. The fact that this is not a one and done. We don't finish. I mean, we do finish, right? There's a scope and we conclude, but there's a next step for them in our relationship, even though the project will come to a conclusion. So this is what I want you to think about. Even if you don't love never-ending long-term client relationships, what are some ways that you can think of using this framework to extend the relationships with the people that you already have trust with so that you are not trapped in having to get a handful of new clients every month forever in order to make the revenue you need to make. This way you start building momentum over time. You not just with referrals, you're never really starting from scratch with your client roster, which you are when it's a one and done kind of projects. So let's get back to Sarah. How did this fix Sarah's foundations? Sarah had an initial upfront coaching engagement for career changers. So what Sarah decided to do was add in an alumni community with master classes that were next level skill builders. Sarah also offered an extension offer for people who wanted to or who weren't able to get a new job within the first 3 months, there's an extension offer to continue them on their journey, continue supporting them. And Sarah's also going to bring in these like annual retreats for her clients to maintain their integrity related to their career decisions, even though they're not actively searching for a new job. So Sarah went from not having anything that could serve the existing client relationship to having a suite of offers tailored to the needs of her clients. And with this, Sarah was able to add thousands of extra dollars to her client engagements without having to make more sales, but simply serve the clients in a longer term capacity. So I'd be curious for you. Which approach do you want to try in your business? Do you want to try the ladder, which is the next step on their journey? Do you want to try a loop, which is staying in alignment and maintenance with the transformation that has been provided? Or do you want to try layer, which is extending to either a more exclusive, deeper in the organization, or adjacent organizations and topics? Let me know which of these new offer approaches you're going to try to fix your foundations. If you like this, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend, and I'll see you next time on Deeper Foundations.